Hello, everybody. I just want to give a quick summary of week 5 and introduce week 6. Tomorrow, week 5 is due, and week 6 officially begins on Saturday. Reminder that your rough drafts for your Essay 1 are due Saturday. I'm going to be a little lenient with the time frame for when, your essays come in, because I recognize there's quite a bit of work to do. Although you guys have had a couple of weeks to really think and do some research on your essays, I'm still waiting for one of you to send me an absolutely amazing draft that you wrote for your essay. I'd like to send that to the rest of you out there to give you a nice idea as to what I'm looking for. What I'm a stickler for as far as grading your first essay is the length. How long is it? I've stated that in the requirements for the essay. Your sources. I'm a stickler for sources. I want to make sure that you guys are not cobbling information just from the internet, but really developing your essays with your own opinion. Number 3, I'm a stickler for formatting. So what I'd like you guys to do, if possible, is to send me your essays as an attachment. It makes it a lot easier for me, because then I can open it up in Word. I can give constructive feedback, because that's very important. That's one of the things I'm a stickler for, is giving back feedback. Many students have complained to me about other teachers who have just given a check on their papers and there's no real feedback. Well, how do I know what I'm doing or how I'm doing if I'm not getting criticism back from my instructor? So you'll see a lot of comments. I do try to balance out good and bad. And I also am a stickler for making sure that you're sticking to MLA in-text citation format. You guys are, graduates of English Comp 1, so you know that we use MLA in-text citation. Make sure your references list is properly formatted, and make sure that you have followed the guidelines that I've given you in many emails and in the actual assignment. So that's your essay. As I've said, week 5 is due tomorrow. I'll extend that until Sunday. I'm not going to change the due date. When you set up an assignment on My Literature Lab, it allows you to automatically send it to every single class on My Literature Lab. But then when you go to modify due dates, you have to go back one at a time. I'm going to extend that till Sunday. What I'm going to be doing is grading tonight and a little bit of tomorrow morning. And then I'm probably going to be gone until Sunday. You'll see me Sunday morning on emails, on the Facebooks. As I've said, I'm getting married. I don't normally share stuff like that. But tomorrow at the wedding rehearsal, Saturday at the wedding. It's pretty much going to be an all-day activity. So I will try and check emails quickly at night. I'm not sure what kind of mental state I'll be in, but I will check emails quickly Saturday night. Try to make sure, even if it's a quick follow-up question or thank you for this submission, I'll take care of this on Sunday, just to make sure everything's going smoothly. Because I know there are a lot of teachers out there who just do not respond to emails, and it's a tragedy. I mean, it's completely disrespectful. You expect your teacher to respond to you on a timely basis, and I've had teachers who've never written me back, and I think it's really kind of insulting. Now, week 6, introduction. Week 6, we start fiction. You look at your syllabus, you can see that we start an introduction of fiction. Thinking critically about fiction and thinking critically about what authors are intending is one of the major skills that I'm hoping we will develop during this unit. Fiction is very different from poetry. I mean, that should be obvious, right? Poetry may be short. There may be a lot of metaphor. There may be a lot of meaning to the poem. Fiction sometimes tends to use a lot of symbolism. Fiction tends to use a lot of imagery. And by its very nature, it's usually longer. Although Ernest Hemingway actually, I think, takes the cake for the shortest fiction piece. He was challenged by his friend to write a story in 6 words, or I think it was 6 words, and he wrote this: for sale, one pair of baby shoes never used. So that's 8 words. Well, that's a story in itself. Think about that. Why would it be for sale? What happened? Why were the baby shoes never used? And that has, I think, been awarded as the shortest fiction piece. Many of the fiction pieces we will look at are long, a good number of pages long. As a writer myself, I'm not a poet. I'm a writer. I mostly write science fiction. Over the years, I've noticed that in fiction there is no real formula for fiction, but you do need to develop characters. You do need to develop plot. And so the two choices, the two selections that we're going to be looking at this week, which are Kate Chopin's *The Storm*, which is a very good piece, and John Updike's *A.M.P.*, which was done to death in both my undergrad and my graduate work, are good places to start. Both are somewhat simple. There's symbolism, there's metaphor, there's imagery, and they both flow at a good clip when you're reading them. Those, I think, are very good choices for beginning to look at the fiction unit. Some teachers have started off with Hemingway, which Hemingway uses a very different writing style. He liked to use very short, direct, almost journalistic writing style. And what eventually winds up happening is, if you're not used to that, you do kind of tune out quickly. *Cat in the Rain* last semester was one of the first pieces we looked at in fiction, and it was difficult. I have set up week 6. It will not be available till Saturday morning, so I just wanted to make sure everybody understands that's all set to go. And the next time I give a video, I actually won't even be in the state. I will be available next week on my honeymoon, but I will be grading as much as I possibly can without the threat of divorce, because if I spend 6 or 7 hours on the computer on a honeymoon, I'm definitely gonna hear that years later. But I really just want to make sure that everybody's up to speed with everything that's going on. Some of you are doing an amazing job. Danielle, I must say, your posts are amazing. Your insights are incredible. You even were the only person really to pick up on question 7 about Gwendolyn Brooks' poem, and it talked about the 7 deadly sins. And she said to me, Danielle, you said to me, very clever, you're the only person actually to pick up on that. Many of you have actually taught me things, and this is the interesting part about reader response criticism. You'll notice in my comments about reader response criticism that it's a little bit easier to use reader response criticism than, say, feminist theory or fundamentalist theory. There's a whole crop of literary theories out there. Reader response criticism is more teacher friendly, and it really encourages discussion between students and teachers. And many of you have brought up points about Robert Frost's poem design. Some of you said, the design of the web, it's beautiful, but it's constructed with a very, sinister purpose. That was something I never really even thought of when reading that poem. So again, I may be your teacher here. I may be your guide through English composition too. But you guys have taught me quite a bit this semester. And I must say this before I sign off. I have been a teacher at Quincy College now for almost 2 years. At the end of this semester, it will be 3 years. I've been teaching the online department at Quincy College for close to 2.5 years now. And I also teach at Liberty University, which is all online. I also teach at Evans Colleges, which is all online. I must say, this semester was probably one of the more difficult I've started because of all the problems that we had in the beginning. And I apologize. It reflects better on me, but I want to emphasize this is not normally the way I create a semester. So I do apologize for the confusion. Some of you are still having problems with my literature lab. I need to know about these problems. I don't know about problems, then I can't help you. So we've covered here week 5, week 6, and your first essay. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for staying involved in the course. I will be sending out semester notices of concern for those of you who are struggling and trying to find out ways that I can help you sometime next week. So until then, take care.